Hey guys, how's it going? We're going to do another unscripted live here where we just run through a few things, test a few things. So today we're going to take a look at the Cursor app, which is the AI app that helps you code. But instead of just doing coding, we're going to see if we could use it to install or update some other services on remote machines. Right? So the whole idea is this is stuff I normally do day to day, but I wanted to see if, and it's nothing that complicated, but can Cursor do it? That's the big question here. I don't know. I haven't tried it. So again, with you, we might crash and burn here in a flame of glory. But okay. I am going to really start. So this is a live, we'll cut this up and cut it down later. But we're going to start out by setting up a virtual private server, VPS. Let me share my screen with you guys. So in this case, the one I've been going to nowadays is OVH Cloud is the one I've been using mostly lately. So I'm just going to go through the process here of creating this server real quick, getting it up and going, go back and forth. Yeah, so let's dive right in. So yeah, the website is sorry, I have a screen over a screen. We don't need that one. All right, so the URL is up here, us.ovhcloud.com. So if we jump onto that website, we could go to bare metal and VPS. And here's the prices. So one of the things I like about this too is being able to spin up quick, small Ubuntu servers or any type of server you want at low cost, at least for trial and error, right? So right here, I'm just going to go with this VPS 1 for our testing, which is 4 cores, 8 gigs of memory, 75 gigs of SSD drive, unlimited traffic, which that's a big thing right there, and the public megabytes per second, so 400. So again, for a test platform to test a few things, that's great. $4.20 a month. We're going to go ahead and dive in here with this. I may switch over here and there because of privacy when I'm putting in passwords or any of that type of stuff. So we'll blur out the screen at those points because we are live here. So I'm going to go ahead and click configure. And it's going to ask me where I want the no commitment, right? I only want for 1 month for $4.90. Because I did that, it looks like some of these are grayed out. So I have to go to US West, which is fine. Down here, you could pick your image that you want to use. So I'm going to go Ubuntu, and then you could pick your version too. So I'm going to go with the latest one, 25.04. That's fine for me. But again, we have Debian, Fedora, Windows Server. Looks like Windows Server is a little more. It's like $9. There's a Rocky. So whatever your flavor is. I used to be a big CentOS guy until we lost that. So Rocky sounds good to me. But, with support and everything, Ubuntu seems to be the way to go. Or Debian, of course. And here's all those extra add-ons. So if you're really doing this for a production thing, maybe you want the automated backups or the snapshot backups, which is snapshots are nice if you're going to be testing stuff, being able to roll back a whole image, and additional storage if you're going to need that much. But for our intensive purposes, this is going to be it. I'm going to blur out the screen here for a moment and finish this paying. Ask for promo codes. Unfortunately, I don't have any. I'm going to hit checkout. It's giving me my billing address and accepting the terms and what credit card I want to use. And I'm going to click continue. Okay, so my order is in and it's being configured. So if I click on configure now, normally the first thing I would do is disable automatic renewal, but I'm going to leave it on for now. I might keep this as a test bed. So if I click on this URL here, and guys, you may, if I'm being a little vague about certain things, it's because I don't want to point out certain things. But in this case, I'm not keeping this server, so we could knock this out. So the status is it is active. So we could see this right here, it's showing active. So we should be good. So to my understanding, I think they send you an email with a password. I'm looking for that email now. Say OVH Cloud. So this is where this, it says it's active, which usually means everything's good and they sent the email. But doing this live, this is what we need to deal with. Yeah, I haven't gotten an email yet. Oh, let's look. Secondary DNS, while awaiting automated backup, additional disks, monitoring, home. This is taking longer than I remember. Okay, so the email just came in. So the email gives you your VPS name, your IP version 4 address, the IP version 6 address, the username, and you need to create a password. So I'm going to go back and blur the screen. I'm going to grab that link, throw that into the web page, load it. And now I got the password. I'm going to open up Notes real quick, throw the password in Notes, and copy the username, which is Ubuntu in this case. And I'm going to put that on a window on the side so I have it. Then I'm going to close that window, grab the IP address, and then at this point, I am going to open up Terminal. And I am going to SSH into this server to make sure that the credentials work, right? So SSH Ubuntu at the IP address 15.204.113.208. Again, this is just a test environment. I'm going to kill this probably right after this video. It's not going to be a production thing. Or you could actually just request a different IP address. But anyhow, so I'm going to SSH into it. Enter, and then it's going to ask me for nothing because I am already logged in as root because I have an account there. I thought it was going to ask me for the new password as well, but I guess we're good on that. Before we do anything else, I'm going to close terminal because we're not here for terminal, right? I'm going to move this screen. Well, I guess we could leave it there. It could stay in the background. Let me know, guys. Do you use Cursor? How are you guys managing things? I was just really curious if Cursor could. And for those that don't know, let's go to the Cursor website. I think it's Cursor AI, but let's look at for it first. Yeah. So Cursor AI code editor, right? You could prompt with it, but the nice thing with it also is you could link actual documents. So the idea here is if we're going to install something from GitHub or something that's open source from another location, we could actually put all those documents in so that the AI could reference those documents. And we're gonna go through that. We're gonna do that. And because it has those documents, the hope is it could run through the process of doing those installs and get everything up and going. So we will see here. So yeah, so this is Cursor. You could download it right here. I do have it installed already. Let's see. There it is in my bar. Okay, so at this point, you're going to open it and you're going to be able to open a project. So Cursor don't really work in projects, even though this first window says open project. It doesn't really work like that. And it's really folders. But before we get to that, let's go to File. Sorry, Cursor. Cursor View up top here. we want to go to Command Palette. And we're going to use this RSS, this remote SSH to connect to something. And I believe you need to install it. I had it installed already. I did it previously, but I just want to make sure I'm pointing you guys to the right place. Okay. So it's called Remote SSH. That's what I wanted to look up because I don't think because I have it installed again. So we need to go to extensions. So view extensions. And inside here, these are all the extensions. I guess I could see if I have it installed in here, if it shows. Yeah, so it's right here. It's this remote-SSH. So basically you put remote SSH in there. And just like these, you have the install button. This one, you would have the install button and just click install, right? It gives you all the information about it. So this will let you, connect to it. This will let you connect to any remote machines using this process. So we're going to go ahead and close that. And then we could also close that. Extensions. Oh no, because we're in extensions up there. So I'm going to go to up here. This is kind of like the Finder. So if I go to Open Folder, it brings you to an actual folder and you could use that. But again, for this case, we're going to go connect SSH. And this is what's going to pop up here, right? So we know it's Ubuntu at let's double check our IP address again. Ubuntu at 15.204.113.208. Okay, so boom, I'm in, I'm connected. So I don't know why it's showing, oh, that's different projects. So now it's showing this terminal right here at the bottom, this top part. Again, I'm not super experienced. If you guys are live with me, feel free to jump in. I've used this a handful of times. I'm still trying to piece it together on use cases. I have a tendency to pay for Pro when I need it and cancel it when I don't. So right now, I don't, yeah, it looks, I might be on the Pro version. I have to look. So, okay, so again, I'm in here, right? You can see. I'm in here, but I think it connected me to the wrong server. So, name. AA96. Yep, I think we connected to the wrong one here, guys. All right, so again, that was me being live. It made sense that it didn't ask me for the password to log in. So we got a different IP address. So let's go to File, Close Remote Connection. And now Ubuntu at that IP address. Yes, okay, this sounds like we're doing it for the first time. Now we're going to put the password in. Again, I'm going to blur myself out for a minute. Let's come back. Now, after I put the password in, it's asking me what type of server is our server. It's a Linux machine. It's asking me to confirm the password again. I'm just going to paste it. Reload window. Let's see. Okay, so it is not working for some reason. So this is our troubleshooting, right? So let's go back to terminal. Oh boy, sorry. So let's close this first. Close. Go back to terminal. Shirish Ubuntu at 15.204.11.149. So it doesn't like the password. UBUN. TU. Okay, so I think that was me spelling Ubuntu wrong. Put an extra U. UBUNTU at the end. Okay. Current password. New password. This is what we should have expected the first time around. Okay, so now let's try to log back in with the new password. And voila, perfect. So now let's go back to terminal. Sorry, cursor. Open connection. Ubuntu at 15. Slide it over. 204.11.149. Now it should ask us for a password again. Password's in there. And boom. So it likes having a local folder also. And it likes knowing what folder is the home folder. So we're just going to say the Ubuntu folder that it's currently in is its home folder for now. We'll click OK. Wants the password again. Okay, so the way this works, let's move my window. Well, let's just keep one window on the screen for right now, and let's make this one a little bigger for you guys. Okay. So the way this works is you have your remote files on the left-hand side, and we have our prompt that we actually talk to the AI on the right-hand side. Now, there's a few things we could do. There's this add context. We're going to come back to this, but we're going to use this to add our white pages or instructions from online resources. But again, learning with you guys here. But what's this popping up? I haven't used it in this case. I've used it more for, programming and writing code for certain things and really finding bugs for things. But let's ask it, can you help me update Ubuntu? We know this is really easy. We know how it does. So I guess the first thing it's asking us, it wants to know the release. So it will prompt you every step of the way on if you want to allow it or run it or skip it. We're going to let it run. Run. So you can see the output that it got. It found out that it's 25.04, which is codename Plucky. And now it's saying, it's basically wanting to see if we want to run the update, which is exactly what I was going to do next. So let's go ahead and run it. So again, something very simple that we do ourselves all the time. I just want to see if it's able to do all that. Now it wants to see if it's upgradable. Yeah, let's take a peek. Now again, depending on what we're installing, we may not want to upgrade it like that. So it can see that there's 124 packages available, right? It went through them, and it wants to know if we want to upgrade those. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Let's just run through it. Let's make this side, since we're going to be more. I don't even know if this is called coding, right? Is this vibe coding? Let me know down below. Vibe server management? I don't know. So I was thinking, so there is, we don't need this page anymore. So there's this platform I wanted to try out. It was a social network called Bonfire. It seemed pretty cool. It's live. It's really fast. However, I tried to install it on my own, and honestly, I had a hard time. I had a hard time with it. It's newer languages that I'm not that familiar with. And they had instructions, but every time I tried it, I kind of fell a little short. So let's see where we're at with this. The upgrade completed successful, and now you can clean up unnecessary packages. Yeah. So sure, yeah, let's let it remove packages that are not needed anymore. Let me check current status and verify update was successful. Yes, please check. So it's doing a lot of that comparison. And guys, I don't think I used Cursor at all this month. It wants to reboot. You know what? I am going to, yeah, I guess why not? I guess it's a good point to reboot, but I should be doing that we'll get kicked out of here in a second. I think I already, think I already closed that web page. So we're going to go back to virtual servers. Sorry, it takes a second to find this stuff. I'm not in here every day. Okay. So let me double check which server I'm looking at. It ends in AA. Sorry guys for that. Okay, so let's go back so you guys can see. So we're back on this page. So under your VPS, there's a boot option. It says local. If you click on the 3 dots over here, you have a reboot and a secure reboot. We're just going to do a regular reboot. I'm not going to do a rescue. And we're going to let that go, and we're going to jump back over. We don't need the cursor site. So back to Bonfire. So Bonfire is an open source social platform. Think kind of like Twitter, but the Fediverse. But it's pretty much live. So when you text something, it's up right there instantly. Yeah, it was just something I wanted to play around with and check out, and I couldn't get going. So I'm curious if this will do it. So I want to do this get Bonfire at the top over here, and we're going to look at installing Bonfire on your own, right? So there's an installation guide. So I'm going to click on that, and boom, we have instructions here for everything. So I'm gonna grab the URL. I'm gonna copy it. Okay, it's asking me for password again, which means it shut down. Put the password again in and see, cannot reconnect. So okay, now it looks like it's up. Great, I'm gonna scroll back down. We did our reboot. So this add context. So what's nice about this is we could reference other documents like GitHub, a website, or files and folders, code. So all we have to do is put an @ in front of it. I think, no, I'm not going to do git. There it goes. Scroll down, there's one to web. You hit web, and then you drop the URL there. And before we do anything else, I'm going to ask it to tell me about Bonfire. Based on the information from the Bonfire documentation, what we need to know. Bonfire is an open source framework designed to help communities create and manage their own federated digital spaces. It's built with a philosophy of autonomy, mutual care, and collective power, allowing users to co-create tools, reclaim data, and resist manipulation by sharing their own online environments. Modular, extendability, federation, customization, moderation tools. Okay, great. Can we install this on our Ubuntu server? What steps do we need to take? So it's going to check. So let's scroll back up here. So it gave us kind of a checklist. Check system requirements. Install required dependencies with Docker. Clone Bonfire repository. Configure Bonfire settings and environment. Deploy Bonfire using Docker. Verify installation access. So there's multiple steps. So the first thing, checking the system requirements. Let's do that. Your system has good resources. Now let's install the required dependencies. Let's go for it. I don't know if you guys could see it. So down here, there's this little percentage thing. So it looks like I am on the free account. So there's a certain amount of tokens you get. And when that hits 100%, you're out for the month or you need to upgrade. So we're going to see how far we can get. I believe I used it at all this month. Today it's September 8th. So it's reset. I haven't used any. So this will give you a sense on how far you could get on a free account. Okay, now let's start a Docker and your user to the Docker group. Okay, run it. So now it's trying to git clone the Bonfire network Git, right? So let's scroll back up. We can see it started the Docker. It added it to the system. It updated the user. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. Great. Let's explore the Bonfire directory and check for deployment instructions. Okay, let's run it. So again, the idea here is I'm trying not to shape the direction. I'm trying to let it guide us and let it figure out and get there. Let me check Docker related files and deployment instructions, right? Okay, great. Let's scroll up a little more, make sure it didn't do it. What else it did? So it looked in the Bonfire directory. It's checking permissions and what files are actually in there, right? So it's installed in the Ubuntu user, Ubuntu and home in the Bonfire directory that it made, created these files. Okay, now it wants to compose and create a Docker file for this application, for this service. I see this is just the core Bonfire extension. We need to look for the main Bonfire app. Let's check. Okay, that's the first thing. So we had a little hiccup there. Let's see how it corrects itself. It sounded like it cloned the wrong repository. So now it's going to grab the right one. Hopefully, we'll see again. So now it's going to look at the directory in the files again, see what's in there. Okay, now it sees the proper Bonfire app and Docker files. It needs to install the just command. Okay, so it wants to install the just command. So it's the installer file for that. So let's go ahead and let it. Great, now let's set up the environment. So Docker has YAML configure files, and then they also have environmental files. So I guess this wants to create environmental files where I guess this Docker needs. And that's initialize the configuration. Okay, let's do it. Let me check what configuration files we need and generate secrets. Okay, so it's actually doing the secret files too. Okay, it's going to cat that. And now it's going to back up the environmental files. So it sounds like it's going to create those secrets and create the new environmental file with that. Okay. Again, I'm going to kill this later, so I'm not too worried about sharing it right now. So I'm just trying to scroll all the way back up. So the environmental files, localhost port 4000, do not automatically, images, videos, PostgreSQL, session cookies, host name, generate seed, API key. Okay. Now let's just set up Bonfire application. Okay. So it's using just for the setup. It looked like there was some errors in there. I see there was an issue with Docker compose command. Let me check Docker. Yep. Go ahead and check that, please. The issue with the new Docker version compose with spaces instead of a ddocker compose hyphen. Okay. Okay, it's going to try to use a regular Docker compose command directly. And it's going to restart. Now, mind you, I went through the documentation on the Bonfire before, and I had issues with it. I'm not no expert, but I spent an hour or two trying to figure it out and the back and forth. I even went to the point of rolling back to an older Ubuntu to try to get it working. And yeah, again, it was just something I wanted to test and couldn't. So I was curious to where are we getting? So it's restarting the Docker. So it sounds like maybe it's waiting. It's spinning in this corner. I don't know if you guys can see it. Doing this little spin. So it's saying it needs to, I'll scroll back up. So it tried the regular Docker compose, and it needs to fix Docker permissions. Restarting the Docker. So it just probably has a timer on here before it checks again. So as with all of these AIs, guys, it's you use it with a grain of salt, right? I don't like using AI for something I'm not familiar with. I will use it to take the mundane work out of what I'm doing, but it's mundane because you already know it, right? It's already stuff you're knocking out back to back, and it's just mundane because you're doing it over and over again. You know those things well. So the mundane stuff, by all means, do it. But for stuff that you don't know, I really don't suggest anyone using AI for it. Figure it out yourself, nail it down. It's still going here. Yeah, we're live, but this was kind of a spur of the moment live. I had a little free time and I figured, hey, why not do this? Normally I schedule them out, but since I haven't, there's really not many people online, so there's not many questions back and forth. Maybe we'll get a few people. We're hitting about the 45-minute mark here. We will probably end up cutting this down. Replay value on lives really isn't that good for, for those that don't know. They're good when you're pushing the live, but not so good for replay value. You really need to cut them down and polish them a little more to make that replay value better so people could jump in and find what they need quick and fast. Okay, so this is taking a longer time than I thought. Let's stop it. Maybe it got hung up. And let's ask it. Did you restart the Docker? Looked as though you got hung up. The command got interrupted. Okay, so let's try it again. So, yeah. Let's not try to sit there forever, I guess, right? View appearance, that was the secondary sidebar, which is what I was using. Appearance, primary bar. Okay, let's get rid of the primary bar. This is the actual terminal. I'm going to assume it got hung up again. Did you get hung up again? I'm going to try a simpler approach. Okay, let's see. Again, I'm trying not to chime in and do the work for it, right? I mean, I could very easily go in and restart the Docker, but I want it to figure it out, right? And again, how many tokens and stuff do we end up burning through this? Okay, I'm going to stop it again. Still looked like you were hung up. Can you just check if the Docker did restart? So it almost seems like it's not even getting basic stuff back. That didn't seem to work for you as well. Is something frozen? I don't know, even that command, it didn't finish up. So what's going on here? Command might be taking too long to complete. I mean, I could see on the bottom left here that the session is still on, so we're not disconnected. Daemon issues could be because it tried to update things and roll stuff back, so it could have broke it for sure. Under load, I mean, we're the only people doing something on there. It's trying a simpler test. I mean, it looks like it's getting the output, but it's not seeing it for some reason. Is it you? I see the output, but it seems like you're not seeing it. You're absolutely right. I can see the output in the partial results, but it seems like the terminal commands are getting interrupted or timing out because I can see the full response. Docker's installed. We're in the correct directory terminal. What we've completed. Okay, I mean, let's go to that. It almost seems like something is going on with cursor at this moment in time. Okay. It seems as though you, cursor, are not noticing that the step was completed. And I have to stop you and tell you, I don't know. Seems basic commands you're not seeing, they are done. Let's do a test. Do another ls command. And I want to see if you acknowledge it's done. Okay, so I'm telling it, just do a basic command. I want to see if it finishes. So again, it's still spinning here. So something's going on. It could very well be disconnect and connect again and everything's fine, or restarting cursor. But again, we're trying to let it get to what it needs to. Okay. Even that you didn't know it was completed. You sat there spinning. See, an issue with my terminal command processing that I need to be aware of. The commands are working fine, but I'm not properly detecting. Should I restart cursor? Okay, let's say we're new to cursor. If I restart cursor, will I lose this chat and its progress? Something we should know about, right? If it crashes on us, will we lose all this chat? Most likely you'll keep the chat history. Cursor typically saves chat conversations in your session. So restarting the application shouldn't lose our conversation or the progress we've made. However, to be safe, let me quickly summarize accomplishments. Okay, so to be safe, I guess I will copy all this just so it's in my clipboard. So let's just go ahead and quit cursor. Let's quit. Now we're going to open it again. We're going to put in our password again. Okay, we are back after our cursor restart. Can we do a quick test again, like the ls command, and see if you acknowledge it's done? Okay, so again, run. Okay. Allow proper acknowledgement commands first. Let's continue by file. Okay, so it was some kind of bug that we ran into. Again, it's checking permissions on the environment files. The release. It's going to look at the configuration file. It wants to grep stuff. I guess it's going to do the builder. It looked like I saw some errors there. Want to see what just servers. I see that. Oh, that's a lot. I see the issue. The problem is the newer Docker Vision, Docker Comp with the space. So this is what it told us before. So we're kind of going in a circle. So this is the thing with these AI code programs or services or using any type of AI. When it knows what it's doing, it's great. It's magic. But when it doesn't, you could be chasing your tail for a long time and burning through tokens. So again, run it. So now we're at 52%, guys, just so you know. We still have a Docker permission issue. Okay, let's see if it fixes it. This is when we started getting issues last time. So it needs to change group requirements, it sounds like. Environmental variable services, okay. Okay, you can see we need a doc image Docker. Let's set the environment variables. Okay. Database services, okay. So the environment variables are not being passed to the sudo command. Let's try a different approach. So, yeah. Okay. So now the database services are up. Making sure. Search database services are running. Now I need to build a Bonfire application image. And I still see errors in there. There are some issues with build process. Let me try a different approach. Let me check if we can use the development Docker setup instead. Maybe I should have tested this with an easier project. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Again, I'm doing this because it was something I ran into and couldn't get working. And like I said, don't suggest you do that with things you don't know. Only do it with those mundane things. I can't say it, I can't stress it enough. I can see there's multiple deployment options. Let's try bare metal approach. So now it's saying, oh, I can't figure out Docker. I don't know, but let's try a bare metal thing. Maybe that could do it. And again, this is a development installation that I did. I don't care. I mean, I could have been trying to install this on another machine where I needed it to be on a Docker, which was the case last time. But I've never tried doing it bare bones. Let's see if the issue it's having is really a Docker thing. Okay, exporting the image. Okay, pulling the Docker. Since the Docker build is having issues, let me try to install the required dependencies and run Docker directly. Let me install Elixir. So Elixir is one of those languages that I don't know too well. And this is what I kept knocking my head on. Like, am I missing something I don't know? PostgreSQL, of course I know, but grab a sip of my last couple of sips of my coffee. Great. So Elixir and PostgreSQL is installed. Let me check versions and start PostgreSQL. Okay, let's run it. Okay, so now it's going to try to run it directly. Create user with password, grant privileges to database. Okay. Okay, back to our cursor restart. Quick test. Great. Now let's run Bonfire in development mode. Okay. The issue is still with Docker Compose. Let's try to run Bonfire without Docker by setting their environments. Okay. Okay, so again, are we hanging up now again? We hanging up again? Do I need to restart cursor again? The process was working but got interrupted. Let me try to continue to set up, run. Actually, they're now installed successfully. Okay, so now it's going to try to compile. So there's a compilation error, embark phaser dependency. Okay, so I guess it's going to try to install that dependency. And it's going to try to compile again. Phaser compiled successfully. Now it's going to try to compile the application again. Still spinning there, still going, it's compiling, it might take a minute or two. So down on the right-hand side, there is how much data is going up and down. So as long as I see those numbers shifting a bit and not staying at like single digits, you know, I know something's happening. So we're at 92% right now, guys. So I'm not feeling pretty confident that we're going to make it through the installation. Oh, interesting. Maybe I'm wrong. Compile the phase transfer. Okay, so it wants to compile another thing. So this number, context used, went down to 48% now. Oh, now it's back up. I'm not sure what's going on there. I thought that was the usage for the month, but it's going up and down. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I'm going to keep going until it tells us we can't go anymore or until it works. Well, we're at the hour mark here. Some nail-biting install here, guys. There's another complication error with Suite XML dependency. It's missing ER language XML library. Okay, install that dependency, I guess. So this is a fairly new open source project. I think it was considered beta for a long time, and it just came out of beta like last month or something, I believe. I'm going to compile again. So, you know, I'm sure there's issues, as with anything. And it's not something I've been following around, so, you know. Is it bugs? Yeah, it's bugs. You know, I don't know what their real environment is. Are they doing bare bones like this, like we are? Are they doing Dockers? Maybe the Docker information isn't updated as quickly as it needs to be. Yeah. So I'm still seeing some numbers happening on the bottom, so I don't think it's dead yet. Again, it's compiling. We know compiling takes a while. So I do these lives once in a while. You know, it's if I'm going to test something, why not just do it live, right? So people could comment and throw their questions in. What AI tools are you guys using? Let me know in the comments below. Lately, so we're still using OpenAI. We moved from GPTs to projects, and I've really liked the projects. I did run into token limits at 8,000, so then I started breaking the instructions up into documents and calling them from the instructions. So now my GPT projects are running more like written applications, if that makes sense. Like every folder is basically a function, and we're using it that way. Okay, so there's another complication error for autumn dependency. Okay, let's install the autumn dependency. So yeah, I've been using that a lot lately. That's working very well. I tried Dia for a bit in the browser to see what this whole browser AI stuff is about. I used that for about a month until I got into Comet. And now I'm using Comet. Rust environment to complete the autumn. Oh, wow. Okay. So then again, this is why this project was, there's a lot going on around it with Rust now and Cargo and so what was I getting at? Okay, install, build essentials, okay. Surprised that's not installed already. So Comet is definitely a step up from Dia. Dia looks a lot nicer, and I think people who are familiar with Safari and Macs will love Comet. However, I think people that are, from Windows or just like that Chrome feeling, Comet will feel more natural. Compile. Okay, so now this is going to compile the Autumn service. Are going to like more Comet, but there's a big distinction. Dia can only see things on the website. It can't interact where Comet can. And Dia was just purchased. And we have to see what's going to happen with that moving forward. Dia was also the company that made Arc, the browser company. And they were doing some really nice things and good things. I wish Apple would have bought them. It's one of those, like, they're very much into making everything polished and work with Apple and all that. I think it would have been better if Apple bought them. But Comet can actually interact with things, which is scary once you start thinking about it. The thought that it could go in and actually make purchases for you on Amazon, think about that for a second. A browser that could click through sites and make purchases on itself, on its own. There is some little security things I keep seeing, they keep implementing, but just the thought of that is kind of crazy. It takes the next level of viruses to a whole new level, right? Excellent testing file. Okay, so now it's going to compile it again, the cargo. Think about the next version of viruses, right? Clicking on a link in your email that could actually open up a browser and go through the steps and actually purchase something from your computer. Talk about scary. Yeah, purchase coming with your credit cards from your IP address, from your machine and MAC address. yeah, how do credit card companies and other people vet that you didn't make that purchase? But it is interesting. Some use cases that I've seen is I was trying to get an API key from Google not too long ago, trying to create a new one with certain permissions. And whenever I go to the Google's backend, I feel like they changed something on me. I'm always lost. As anyone knows, Google is very not user friendly. But the nice thing was not the fact of asking Comet to do it for me, but asking it, could you find this? Could you find where the API credentials are? And it will go through those pages and find that location for what you're actually looking for. That I find useful. So we're still compiling here. Again, compiles take a while. I'm still looking at the bottom. The numbers are still going, so I feel like it's still doing something. So, I've been playing with that stuff a bit. My bee little pendant that records me, I'm really upset that Amazon bought them. Don't know what's going to happen to them. I feel like they're pretty much, the owners are not communicating to anyone on their community. They've built a pretty large community on Discord, and everyone's just raving with questions and what's going on and nothing. Yeah, I feel like even B and these other pendants and all these other devices like that could be killed overnight just from Apple. Apple building the same service into their Apple Watches, right? I mean, let it listening, or these like Meta glasses. Glasses seem to be the big thing coming out. Why can't it have always on listening and do the same type of transcriptions? Yes, first thing people are going to say is battery life. But again, this little bee lasts like 5 days, 4 or 5 days. I mean, it's not using that much power. Yeah, this is still going. I mean, I guess that's a good thing, right? That means it's still chugging away. We do have the Apple event tomorrow. New iPhones coming, I believe, right? You guys excited about that? Should be a decent upgrade. I don't feel like I've been as excited as I've been in the past. About iPhones, because I mean, phones are phones. They're not doing anything new that's that exciting, and I think Apple's falling behind with AI. Again, the big selling point with their last phone, right, was AI, right? I mean, people talking about suing and stuff because they didn't do it. I mean, they're very picky and they're very specific of what they say is coming out, and they delivered on what they said they were going to deliver on. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Meta glasses. I did pick up a pair of my first Meta glasses. These are those Oakleys. I've been rocking the ones in white, at least trying to. I don't know if I do that good. I've been a mixed bag of worms, really. I do have a pair of clear ones coming next week, and I'll probably be doing an unboxing of those and a quick look of those. The reason I went with these Oakleys was the cameras are better, battery life is better, all around things are just, decently better. minus the look. But again, where are those going? Again, if Apple makes one overnight, it's going to kill Meta. I did a video, check the list on Google and Apple and how they could just pretty much crush Meta overnight. They've been doing this so long. The cameras and hardwares and ecosystems are so much better. And with Facebook's glasses, they're very much locking you in like everybody does, but they don't have a platform to really lock you in that hard like that. Forcing you into vertical videos. You don't have 16:9, you have 9:16. It's actually not even 9:16. It's a little wider. It's the Instagram format, whatever that is. You can't stream to anything else other than Facebook and Instagram. So there's a lot of lock-ins, and Meta's AI, and I've done a rant on this, and I don't want to keep ranting. I'm filling in some time here, guys, when, this compiling. My rant has always been like, Meta keeps calling their AI superhuman, and it's far from that. It's very frustrating. It almost feels like I have to talk to it like I talk to Siri. That's the level it's at. I have to give it clear, precise questions to get clear answers. Or it starts interrupting me or cutting me off mid-sentence. But yeah, I'm not too happy. Meta Connect's coming, I think, in another week as well. Hopefully they have some updates and stuff that shows that superhuman level that they keep raving about, but I haven't seen anything on that. The one good thing is marketing. Facebook's been killing, right? They're marketing very well, and they're making strategic plans in the fashion world. They got Ray-Ban, they got Meta, they got Prada, they got a bunch of them. I think they got Prada. Maybe I'm mixing that up. This is still going. So now at the bottom here is looking at 94%. We'll see. There's another complication, bolt SIPs dependency. This is a dependency issue where, all right, let's try to run it. I don't know, getting close. Again, these should be the tokens for the month, right? They're not, I don't think they're tokens for the daily. I think they're monthly tokens. Could be wrong. Maybe they're weekly tokens or something. You know what? We're waiting here. Let's get an answer to our question. Let's throw a screenshot in there. In Comet, the tokens we see on the right bottom that has a percentage. Is that based on day or month? Oh, sorry. I said comment. I didn't mean comment. We were talking about comment before. I meant cursor. Yeah, so straight up, that percentage reflects your monthly usage, not daily. So again, confirming what I was saying. Let me try compile the entire project again. So run. So that being said, it just dropped to 13% now. I don't know why it keeps changing. I think, you know, maybe there's a limit per back and forth as well. Maybe that's what it's showing. And then when it's not doing anything, it's showing you the month. I think it's a little confusing. They should put a little icon there or something so you know what you're looking at. So if I pause for a second, I guess we're still in here. It's saying 28% right now. So the issue persists. The problem is trying to, but it's not finding it properly. The common issue with the demo. Let's try a different approach. Okay, so something's not working and it's trying it a different way again. So yeah, we were at 90, what did I say before, 98% or something like that. So I'm curious to see how far we make it. Again, this is supposed to be for the month. So if I can't get through a project, let's see how many hours, just so you guys know. We're at 1 hour and 27 minutes right now since we've been at this. So let's say we've been at it a good hour. Maybe the first 15 minutes or so we were playing with creating the VPS server. Great, the dependencies are done. See, now it's saying 39% down there. But I think we're still in the midst of this back and forth. So at some point, it will stop and tell you have no more tokens. Again, I've run into that. And we may see that today. And again, this is going from, I haven't used any tokens this month. We're in a new month, September 8th. I am on the free account. Yes, I'm sure a pro account, you probably have some more tokens. But again, I don't use it enough to keep it active all the time. I turn it on when I have a project that I need it for and then turn it off. So read successful, so let me try to compile the project again. Okay. It's still going away. Still chugging and chugging and chugging. So what tools are you guys using in AI lately? What uses and work cases have you guys found? Using Google, ChatGPT, Grok, and how are you using them in your day-to-day? The stuff you could do with them now is really mind-boggling. I was playing around with Gemini's new Nano Banana, right? Their Flash 2.5. The other week, I even did a quick video on how to repairing old images, which it was the first thing I tried, and I was kind of blown away by it taking old beat up black and white photos and cleaning them up and colorizing them. And it's pretty wild to see. And even like, replacing some stuff in the background, like if you wanted to modernize it or put some kind of twist to it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So it's still compiling here. It looks like maybe it re I saw flickers once in a while and it didn't prompt me or ask me, but it looked like it did one, two, three. It looks like it compiled 3 different times without asking me. I saw a flicker, but I didn't see it. It still showed the same text here, but in actuality, it did go to the next one and redid it. And there it goes again. It just flickered again and did that. Which is strange. Usually it does ask. Still going. Yeah, again, maybe we should have tried to install something we knew, but where's the fun in that, right, guys? Seems like basic stuff worked fine. And, maybe it comes down to how well the instructions were made also for the install. And again, I went through this once and I didn't have success with their instructions. So maybe the instructions aren't written too well or aren't updated as often as they should be. Maybe they're updating the source code faster than they're updating the instructions. Yeah, I don't know. That's another thing that AI does very well is write instructions for you. You could throw code at it and tell it to summarize sections and create a README file for you, which I've done in the past, and it works very well. So what else are you guys looking forward to? Is there any new gadgets or services that are coming out soon that you guys are waiting patiently for or impatiently for? Who knows? Let me know. I'm curious. Something out there you want me to try out, run through, have a question about something, have an idea for another tutorial, video, walkthrough, review. I did launch a little site at ask.lifewithtech.net. It's just a quick little, if you have an idea, you could drop an idea, need help with something, ask it over there. It's a little like social, looks like a little Reddit type thing, but not as advanced as Reddit. I wanted to keep it small. I'm archiving older article ideas, so once those articles and videos go live, I kind of archive them so you don't see them anymore. So it's more about new ideas and, you know, helping new people or whatnot. And I launched that maybe around the same time I was peeking at this app, this service as well. Still chugging along. I still see the numbers going. We're still in the compile section. We haven't run out of tokens yet. I'm a little surprised. I thought maybe we would have hit it already. I'm not sure why the context changed down there. Our endpoint into the Fediverse. I'm just looking through the Bonfire site while still going. And now it looks pretty low. I say that and it jumped up. Okay. And it just flickered again, which makes me think it did all this again. Bolt slips, bolt slips. Not finding another common issue with dependency. Let me try a different process. Let me clean the dependency and try to compile them in a different way. Okay, great. The dependencies have been cleaned and re-downloaded successfully. And now let's try to compile them again. Just flickered again. Flickered again. Again. Okay. So if I click open in terminal, See the terminal down here. Let's see. Normal, let's try to run the migration. Okay, run. Run. Okay, let's try that. Run. So it's missing the database environment variables. Just checking permissions on the config. What was that? You can see the issue has all the database configuration, but we need the database URL environment. Okay. Restarting the server. Starting and the okay. With Bonfire runtime being undefined, this suggests that might be missing a module configuration issue. This module exists, okay. Exists as a template, doesn't it? Okay. Doesn't exist, so the directory doesn't exist either. So it's configuring that file it's missing. Secret key base environment variable is missing, okay. Okay, so it created the secret key for us. Even that's annoying to have to do once in a while. See the server still having issues. Let me check what's happening, try to fix the remaining problems. It seems to be started, but encountering errors. Let's check some. Okay. Server isn't running. You just told me it was with errors. It must have crashed. The generated on its route. See, the issue shows means the Bonfire module is missing the core application module that should exist in the main application. Let me check. That's a little strange. Core module is missing. I didn't do a bare bones install before. I've only ever done the Docker installs. We'll go in here. Capsule report is available. Let's see. Okay, let's. So it looked like it said it was running for a minute there, and then it went away again. So I wonder if it's crashing or what. Maybe the port routing is not working. I'm really not following along what it's doing the whole time. Whenever it kicks out an error, I just try to kind of pay attention to the error to see how it's thinking. I fixed updated, okay. So Postgres, the database user password is wrong, but it created it. I didn't. Token usage looks like it's at 83% now. I'm really confused about that marker, why it keeps changing. Okay, opening that page. Well, first of all, it shouldn't do that. So it's still having issues. Now it's showing we're at 95%. Sorry, timeout occurs, the server running successfully, but times out command about at 60 seconds. The database tables error, relation orphans. Let's run the database migration and start the server properly, okay? Okay, so now we officially just hit the 100% mark. Let's see what's going to happen here. Summarizing. Still going. Now let me start the Bonsai server properly. So that 100% went back down. Now we're at 15% again. Might not be running. I think it's chasing its tail. So it's missing an important table. What's that called? OBAN jobs table is missing from the database. It's a critical table. Background jobs for Bonsai. The migration didn't create the table properly. Okay. So I again with these AI things, the smarter the AI can get, the less chasing its tail it has to do, and the less tokens you'll burn through. So I guess even if AI starts getting smarter and tokens become more expensive, I guess, does it even out? I don't know. What do you guys think? Still not seeing it running on the port. It's going to use screen, so it could run it in the background. All right, let's see. Again, I'm curious to see. I think it's local host because we're going to be from our computer. It will be from this. And this doesn't look like what we should be getting. Great, let me fix it. So you're telling me it's up and it's done, but it's really not up and done. Web views home live is missing. I'm guessing it's a template thing. I imagine since we compiled it from scratch that those templates weren't in there. Router files. Now it's saying the issue might be there are missing dependencies. And that it might need to be recompiled. So it's missing a surface template file. The server is supposed to be very modular, and you're supposed to be able to, mod it the way you want. Again, I think if this worked in the Docker, you wouldn't have all this because everything's there already. But since we're doing a bare bones install, yeah, I can see that it's a Postgres database error. Logs are not showing the actual errors. I may help it out just by taking another screenshot of this. Okay, so error shows that missing database table, social public feed. So it seems like it's all these database errors, or whenever it did the merge, the migrations didn't create all the tables it needed, I guess. Looking at for any missing databases. The feed is missing, so it's still finding missing tables. As a migration, you think it would take everything that had in one database into the other. So the thinking's not wrong, but again, I don't know if the project was managed right or the instructions or what. I'm not the one diving into all these documents, right? So just checking on the tables again to see what it exists. Still see data movement, still going. It's taking a minute to go through all these tables, I guess. I don't think it should take that long, but I see data moving. Problem is the migrations from the dependencies aren't being run. So it looks like all the dependencies, they all should have database entries, and the migration for them were not being run to go in there for some reason. Look for the missing tables. If missing tables were created, check tables exist. Let me check all tables to see what was created. Let me see what tables exist. So that's what we're up to. So it looks like the last one, it created 8. We're at almost 2.5 hours, guys, just so you know. Tokens is saying 95 again. Still don't understand them. Still going. I'm still seeing bandwidth moving at the bottom. Percentage keeps going up and down. Please explain this. And are we looking the right? So you're noticing the percentage at the bottom right, and cursor goes up and down, not just steadily up. That can be confusing, so let's unpack what's really happening. So according to ChatGPT, it's monthly usage against your quota, not daily. It isn't tokens left, it's how much your quota cursor thinks you've used so far. Yeah, that's what we figured, right? Contest window resets. Cursor, like GPT, has a max content length When your conversation history gets too low, cursor drops old messages. Dropping context means those tokens no longer count towards the active session. So the percentage can, okay. Cursor shows a rough live estimate. After syncing with the servers, it may recalculate and show a lower or higher percentage. Different models, different tokens. Switching between 440 Claude changes how many tokens are request cost. Cursor estimates can jump up or down. That little circle is not your billing meter. It's a session context usage as cursor interrupts it. Real usage, yeah, go into accounts. I get that. So the percentage is monthly, but it's session aware and can fluctuate because of context resets and recalculations. So these are just really estimates until it syncs. So when it syncs, it could go back down. Interesting. Okay, looking at my back end, I am on a pro account right now. Guys, I'll be right back.